the next 15 minutes, you will see and hear a day in the life of a quarry as it might have looked around the year 1900. This model is not an exact replica of any particular quarry. It is intended to represent the granite works on Crotch Island and the town of Stonington at that time. It is close to 6 a.m., and the horse and wagon are traveling around Stonington to pick up the quarrymen. Many of the workers live in town, in homes, hotels, and boarding houses. But several hundred lodge on Crotch Island, which had a company store and a school. Italians, Swedes, Norwegians, and Scots had poured onto Deer Island to work as quarrymen and stonecutters. Many hoped to earn and put away enough money to bring their families to America. Some died young, and some settled here. The cemetery in Stonington attests to their many backgrounds and nationalities. Stonington was similar to a Wild West town. From a settlement of a few fishermen's houses on the shore, it had grown to over 2,000 people. The town had more than 50 local businesses, and quite a few were saloons, selling beer at 10 cents a glass. Space was at such a premium that buildings were moved from nearby communities onto Main Street. This museum building, formerly the Webb Brothers grocery store in Oceanville, was dismantled, put on 2 boats, and brought to Stonington. Rebuilding on this site and adding a second story, the Webbs made room for living quarters and their expansion into the hardware business. On the stroke of 6 a.m., the barge leaves for Crotch Island, delaying only for a latecomer running down the dock. The boat is full of workmen and a few boys, all with their dinner pails, who pay 10 cents a day round trip for the barge rides. The metal dinner pails are nested containers with tea in the bottom section, stew or beans above, and pie on top. During the 30-minute lunch break at 11 a.m., the workers put their pails over outdoor fires to heat up. The boiling tea warms the rest of the meal. Once on Crotch Island, men dispersed to their jobs. The quarrymen to the big quarry, and the stonecutters to the cutting shed. Some men sharpen and repair the tools for other workmen. Others operate the boilers and engines to power the pulleys, derricks, and trains. The boys work as apprentices for 10 to 15 cents an hour. An office building on the island houses the draftsmen who lay out on paper the work orders detailing the sizes and shapes of the stone. Stone ordered for buildings such as the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, the Naval Academy at Annapolis, and even Sing Sing Prison in New York. The train takes the waste granite or grout from the quarry to dump it in the ocean. As the piles of grout on the shoreline expand, the train tracks are extended farther into the sea. The flashing lights warn of an explosion on the face of the quarry. 3 blasts on the horn caution danger and clear the area. The derricks move the huge slabs of stone onto the flat cars of the train. The first derrick picks up the stone and places it for the second to lift it and move it onto the flat car. The smaller stones are moved by teams of oxen. The stone is loaded on a wagon, and the wagon is pulled by the oxen to the cutting shed. The train takes the granite to the cutting shed for the stone cutters to shape it into dimension stone. The stone is sawed into blocks and finished to the size and shape, the dimensions, laid out on work orders by the draftsman. Stonecutters are apprenticed for 3 years and reviewed every 6 months before they can qualify for their journeyman's card, which entitles them to a higher rate of pay as certified stonecutters. Many Scandinavians, Scots, and Italians came to the quarries with certificates earned in their native countries. These cards were recognized here and qualified them for the higher wages. Some cutters carve stones into figures, such as eagles, angels, state seals, or coats of arms, to decorate buildings and memorials. Employing calipers to measure the plaster models they use as a guide, these artisans create unique granite sculptures. A remarkable feat is the Rockefeller Punch Bowl, cut 20 feet 8 inches in diameter from a single piece of granite for a fountain basin. It can be seen today at the Rockefeller Estate in Pocantico Hills, New York. The finished stone is loaded on the large schooner to be shipped to construction sites such as the Lowell, Massachusetts Post Office, the pedestal of George Washington's statue at West Point, or perhaps further by train to the St. Louis Bank of Commerce. The derricks are loading the huge slabs of stone detonated from the quarry face onto flat cars. The steam engine will take the granite blocks directly to the wharf to be put on the boat. These large pieces of rough-cut stone may go to construction projects such as the Cape Cod Canal, the approaches to the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges in New York, or to a Potomac River Bridge in Washington, D.C. The 4 p.m. Crotch Island quitting whistle, signaling the end of the workday, is heard in Stonington. Each of the men working on Crotch Island will have earned $1 to several dollars for a day's work. The work is hard, the hours are long, and the pay is low. Many die of emphysema or silicosis, and some are killed in freak accidents in the quarry, such as train brakes failing, mishandling of the stones, and malfunction of the black powder explosives. Despite the danger, no health, disability, or life insurance covers the men or their families. Homes, stores, and saloons get ready for the returning men. Women prepare the family supper of fish, fowl, or game, potatoes, and home-baked pies. No women work in the quarries. Fish packing is the only job available to them. In the canning factories down on the shore, women and girls slice lobster, clams, or sardines and lay them in cans, readying them for cooking, often getting nasty cuts on their fingers in the process. Since there is no refrigeration, fish has to be processed as soon as the boats dock. When a fishing boat comes in, the factory whistle can be heard all over town to signal the women and girls to come at once. Ted Nevels remembers his sister getting up at all hours of the night to go to work. She was paid 10 cents to pack 100 cans in a case. These brave men have left an enduring monument to their skill in the classic granite bridges, piers, buildings, and memorials in our country, the landmarks of the development of America's cities in the first part of the 20th century.